So today it's a little cold to be outside doing projects, so we've kind of moved indoors. And we're going to focus on making some ferments. This year we made a lot of, Kim made a lot of fermented pickles, which she does every year, but we didn't really make cabbage or sauerkraut because our cabbages did not turn out very good. We kind of had a fail. Last year our cabbages looked like this, and these are from a local farmer. This year our cabbages look like this, totally different. And the main reason was the year before we planted them in the spring, let them have a full season to grow and get big heads. This year we experimented with planting them in the summer and seeing if it would have enough time to really generate those big heads before winter set in and the season ended, and obviously they didn't. We've still been eating these, but really not big enough to make kraut with, so we're going to focus on that.
So you're going to slice. So we chose to go with the red cabbage just for the nutrition. The more colorful, the more nutritious, and we've used red cabbage, usually a mix 50-50 with green, but this time we're going to do just the red. And then we like to add some shredded carrots and some chopped garlic. And usually, because we're making it usually later in fall, we would use some like jalapeno peppers also, which is a little different for kraut. So this is not traditional kraut. This is sort of our homestead kraut. But we like the nutritional value of adding the medicinal value of adding the garlic. So I'm going to go ahead and prep those things while Sam does the cabbage. Sam's using a new tool for us. It's a bit of a beast. This is an antique cabbage shredder that my aunt had found and decided she was not going to use it. What do you think? How does it work?
It works really good, really fast.
We cleaned it up pretty good this morning, but
got to be really careful with it as far as
not taking the finger off.
Exactly.
Usually we slice it really thin with a knife, which is easy to do too, but that definitely saves time. So we choose fermentation for a lot of preservation of the crops that we grow here. The way we go about preservation is what's the best way to maximize the nutritional value of what we're growing. So for something like cabbage, you can actually store it in your root cellar, and we use it, either fry it up or just actually in a raw salad because it gives a little crunch in the middle of the winter. Let's see, our carrots, obviously we overwinter, and our beets we overwinter, but just to add nutritional value, we can also ferment this cabbage. And canning is not really a big thing here. We do tomatoes. That actually increases the nutritional value. And then if we have other vegetables, they tend to go in the freezer. Green beans and hopefully someday broccoli and cauliflower. But for canning, tomato products, and then maybe little chutneys, things like that. But actually we freeze those too. It depends on how much freezer space we have. This year we did most of it in the freezer, with an exception of a few, and I made some canned jalapenos. But anything we can ferment, we prefer to ferment for the added nutritional value.
This thing is really actually quite slick. It's amazing how some of the older tools that are out there really work extremely well.
But look at the size. You have to store this.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's going to fit in your kitchen drawer. This is what we have for a mandolin.
Kim actually had it hung on the wall.
Yeah, hanging on the root cellar stair while going down because it's huge.
for each head of cabbage, I'm doing roughly a couple of tablespoons of salt. And then just mixing it in so it helps to get the water releasing from the cabbage, because you really want that hopefully to have enough moisture to create its own brine. And it gets it much thinner, which is nice. It's much thinner than the hand cut. So as you can see, I peeled off some of the leaves, and what we'll do is use those as on the top of the jars to help hold the stuff down under the brine. Now comes the fun part of, the forearm work out of squeezing the cabbage until it creates enough juice to make the brine. I always find it helps to do it for a little bit and then let it sit for 5-10 minutes and keep doing it again. So as you can see, it's just starting to loosen up a little bit and create water, but not much. So really what we'll do is we'll do it for another few seconds or a minute. Then we're going to let it sit, and then at that point maybe we'll go down and grab some more carrots from the root cellar for the ginger carrots.
So we're going to go down in the root cellar and get some carrots for the gingered fermented carrots we're going to make. Get some mokum, because these are actually not storage carrots, but they are delicious. We want to make sure that we're not letting them go to waste. As you can see, they're in perfect condition still, actually. And let's check out the bolero for fun. I'm just going to grab a few. If I get too many, I'll just throw them in the crisper drawer in the fridge. Then bolero, these are storage carrots, so I'm really curious to see the difference. So they both have a little bit of, carrot top trying to grow, so there's really no difference that I can see, which is just good to know, because if we like mokum better, we can plan accordingly. Okay. So over here is where we keep our fermented pickles, our cucumbers, into pickles. So we still have 6 half-gallons, and then we did a few dilly beans. We didn't have a great green bean harvest this year, so we got a couple in, but we find these taste way better the longer they sit, but the pickles we're already enjoying.
So I'm just going to add in the carrots and the garlic, and then keep the process going of trying to, squish it together and generate the brine. As you can see, the orange adds a nice little color snap to the purple cabbage. So our root cellar, which is basically our basement, it's an old fieldstone basement that we had turned into the root cellar. We put stone down there so that it's nicer to walk down into. Our heating system, which was an old oil furnace, doesn't turn on because we heat with wood stoves, or we put on the heat pumps if we're going away. So right now it's probably in the low 40s. Last year it was in the high 30s, which is really pretty good for a root cellar. And the moisture level is, up a little bit too, because there's no heat being run through it. So it's really good for carrots and beets, cabbages, potatoes, and so forth. It's looking pretty good. It's starting to get a little more squishy. Let it sit.
So the original recipe we've adapted came from Nourishing Traditions, and in their recipe they actually shred the carrots. We found we didn't like them that much that way, so we choose to make a thinner slice, and we've done thicker slices, and that's actually good too. I'm going to go ahead and start preparing the brine. For each quart of brine, we want 2 tablespoons of salt. I have some water in the kettle heating up. I'm going to pour about halfway up on this quart. Let the salt dissolve and then add cold water so I can actually use this brine right away. We'll just take a couple minutes for that to get up to temp. But in the meantime, I'm going to see if we have enough carrots. I'm just going to do a little cold pack and make sure. So I'm just adding carrots directly into the jar, lightly pushing them down. And I'll sprinkle in some ginger as we go. It will move around, but wow, it's going to be spicy. It's going to be good. So remembering that fermentation is anaerobic, so you don't want any air. So I'm pushing down just enough so there's not a lot of air space, but what really creates the air seal is putting some sort of a fermentation top on to keep the air from touching the carrots. So we're going to submerge them. Oh man, add some more ginger. We're going to submerge them in the brine. However, we'll also put a weighted glass disc on top to keep the carrots submerged in the brine.
You can smell the garlic.
Yeah, that smells good.
It does smell good.
So I'm definitely going to need to do more carrots.
Okay.
I'm glad I took a minute to do this. We definitely want to leave enough headspace up the top so we can cover these carrots completely with brine. So that looks about right. These are going to be super sassy with the ginger because it will permeate through the whole brine. So while I'm waiting for the kettle to boil, I'm going to go ahead and just prep a few more carrots. So the water is now steaming. I'm going to go ahead and add about 2 cups of water to this quart jar. Let it dissolve, the salt dissolve. Remember, it's 2 tablespoons of salt. Now I'm just going to add some really cold water. So now we're going to go and add the brine. Wow, I can smell the ginger. I might need to make more. Let's see. Oh, some salty stuff. It's really close. Let me see once I add the pebbles. So these are the glass. They look like hockey pucks, glass discs. They're made by Pickle Pebbles. So this might overflow because I really went for it. So that is clearly covered. This one, let's see. Oh yeah, no problem. So I've pushed a little bit of the air out, but also you can see that the carrots are fully submerged. And now I can go ahead and lightly cover these. So now that the carrots are fully submerged under the salt brine, I'm going to go ahead and loosely cover them. I'm going to use plastic lids so the salt doesn't erode the metal on the usual ball jar covers. We're going to leave these on the counter for usually around 2 weeks, but we can test it, anytime after a week to see if we like the taste. But each day, what's really important is you're going to go by and just kind of open the lid and let out any gas bubbles that have accumulated from the fermentation process. There are lids that you can buy that allow the gas to escape. We found this is to be an easy process. We're going to just go put them right on our kitchen counter where we can see them each day, and that way we don't forget to do that step.
So we've been squeezing this kraut and getting it juicy for a while now and letting it sit. And as you can see, it's really juicing well. So it's time to put it into the jars. I like to use the funnel. And I also want to pack it some. I use just a big wooden spoon, pack it down. Now what we want to do is, like we said, take some of the leaves and kind of put those right on top to help hold all the bits down on the kraut. So we kind of just push. Down so it's all under the water, and put one of the pucks in. And again, just like with the carrots, we're going to put on a lid, not super tight, and then we'll put that over on the counter. So just like with the carrots, we just want to leave them out on the counter. We like to put them in something like a glass tray like this, because as they start to ferment, they can bubble over. And then once or twice a day, you just want to come and release the pressure. And we'll let the kraut sit kind of like the carrots for about 2 weeks, then we'll try it and see how we like it. So I'm excited to show you where we've gotten as far as renovating on the apartment. We've had a lot of big changes up here. First, as you can see, we got the new windows in here and also in where the kitchen's going to be. But more importantly, we've taken down the whole ceiling. So we're going to be raising up. The height of the ceiling before was about 7 feet, and now we're going to go up to almost 9 feet high as far as the ceilings. And we're taking that all the way through the whole place. The other thing we've been working on this past week is raising up and moving all the electrical, because it was all down at ceiling height and had to be brought back up so it was above the ceiling. And as you can see, we've kind of brought it all the way through. And even the bathroom, we're going to raise the ceiling height up again in here, which will make it feel a lot bigger. And also the window in here got replaced as well. So we're pretty far along in the process. Still have a lot to do. The rest of this week or next week, we're going to try to finish up some of the electrical work, finish kind of the framing. A lot of these walls now, we have to bring the framing up so that they meet the ceiling height. Frame in a new door over in this section. Frame in above where the bedroom's gonna be. The wall that's separating the bathroom and the kitchen area will have to be framed up higher. And then hopefully at that point we can start insulating and closing the space back in so it can then have some heat turned back on so it'll be a little warmer when we're up here working. And then at that point we can move on to sheetrock in the ceiling, doing the walls, all of that fun stuff. But kind of give you a spot or an idea of where we're at. I think it's going to be a huge difference with the ceilings much higher. It'll make the space feel a lot bigger than it is. Thank you for joining us on the homestead, and if you want to follow our journey, just hit the subscribe button and we'll see you on the next video.